I'm really funny and clever. Okay, no, but seriously, I have a blog just about how funny and clever I am. But people just don't get it sometimes. Like, last semester in my sociology class from my online discussion board, my professor asked, "What is your opinion on gay marriage?" And I read insightful and thoughtful comments like, "It's kind of like a brother and sister having sex. It's just wrong." Comments like this make me want to legalize bitch slapping. So I spent hours typing out pointedly condescending, yet explicitly funny and honest answers such as, "You're right. Some things are wrong. It was probably wrong of you to post on your Twitter, 'Bitches on my dick like my skin.'" I'm gonna give that a hashtag straight boy problems. My speech coach basically called me a huge butthead for stalking my classmates, and I couldn't believe that she called me huge. So I told her to her face when the Washington Times of October 11th, 2011 reported that the leading gay rights activist, Frank Kameny, had died. They described him as brash, persistent, and what I like the most, radical. My experience convinced me that we need a radical voice in the gay rights movement. As Malcolm X once stated, "I learned that if you want something, you had better make some noise." I'm not black. I'm not. However, I think this still applies. So today, we will confront the lack of confrontational rhetoric in the gay rights movement by first defining what this rhetoric is, examining the effects of its absence, before finally drawing up some confrontations of our own. To start, we must understand what confrontational rhetoric is and apply it to our gay rights leaders of past and present, and future if we're Scrooge. So, when I say confrontational, I want all of you to say confrontational. Gay, by the way. Normally, we use invitational rhetoric to talk about what we believe. But according to Brock and Scott's 1972 book, Methods of Rhetorical Criticism, confrontational rhetoric is needed in order for a social movement to occur. They define confrontational as the questioning of basic values and societal norms. In addition, I firmly believe that everyone in here is a radical, because I Oogled my Google, and Google Oogled me back, and told me that a radical is a person who advocates for complete political or social reform. Now you might be thinking, "Bo Rad, you win more flies with honey than you do with vinegar." And I'm saying I don't want flies. I want glitter. And equal rights. I want glitter-covered equal rights. Second, the gay rights movement hasn't had the amount of radical and confrontational rhetoric as the radical women's rights movement or the civil rights movement. Granted, the Stonewall riots were a milestone, but they happened before I was born, this way, and they were only so significant because those queens decided to create the first disco inferno and burn down the bar with the police inside, which got people's attention. The only widely known radical leader that the queer community has had is Larry Kramer, the founder of ACT UP, who in 1987, among other protests, organized 250 people to block rush hour traffic on Wall Street in order to receive equal treatment in hospitals. It was like the Occupy movement. But it worked. And I don't want to hear anything about Harvey Milk, okay? Harvey was skim radical. 2%. So what about our current leaders? Dan Savage, Lady Gaga. These people are entertainers working from within the system. Yes, their influence is positive and they do bring attention to important problems. But in order for an actual movement to occur, one which will legally allow me to make sweet love to Anderson Cooper's pooper, we need a radical voice today. But Brad, the audience seemed to say, What about glitter bombs? Well, a glitter bomb is a radical act with no voice behind it, therefore making it as meaningless as forensics criticism. The June 16th, 2009 New York Times states, "Gay people have no official voice, no national standard bearer. We don't have an Andrea Dworkin or a Malcolm X. But we do have Safe Ellen, who's so non-threatening she's vegan. You guys, she's not even vegetarian." Without the radical voice, activism, like the crippled homeless man lying in the middle of the road, is simply going unrecognized. From this historical and rhetorical overview, we can turn to some effects. I effectively make people more gay just by being in their presence. See? Actually, the gay rights movement has become an issue to be debated and not human rights to be protected. And second, the movement is moving slower than Dick Clark on New Year's Eve. Oh, what? Too soon? I say not soon enough. First, without the radical voice, it is too easy to depersonalize what in fact are human rights. Clendenin and Nagorny write in their book, Out for Good, The Struggle to Build a Gay Rights Movement in America, that the defining bias of this population is more subtle, more personal than any other. It's sexual. Consequently, society as a whole treats discussions on the movement as a religious or a psychological issue to be debated. But some things aren't debatable. My inability to recognize social cues, debatable. My masculinity, debatable. My raging boner for Clint Eastwood, it's a fact. There, I said it. On September 1st, 2011, in an interview with Piers Morgan, Rick Santorum described the gay rights movement as a matter of public policy. According to rightwingwatch.org of January 26, 2012, Newt Gingrich blanket statemented all homosexuals as pagans. First of all, I worship one God. His name is Ryan Reynolds. Second of all, when these politicians talk about me like I'm an issue or a policy, I'm not seen as an individual or a person. And third of all, has anyone else noticed that Rick Santorum kind of sounds like Dick Taint Scrotum? That's what it sounds like. Next, the radical voice is needed in order for change to happen faster. The previously cited methods of rhetorical criticism states that confrontation demands a rapid response. So I will make this issue personal. According to project515.org, I am still missing 515 of my rights in my home state just for being gay. I don't want to wait 20 years to adopt my Gaysian baby. I don't want to wait 5 years to get married. I want to get married tomorrow. Not tomorrow. I want to be an American. But I'm not an American yet. I have one fabulous solution. Embrace confrontational rhetoric and apply it. I know this might be hard for some of you because most people aren't very receptive to being mean, but I'm not very receptive to unequal rights or vaginas. Communication scholar Philip Wander, who I imagine spends much of his time doing this. Argues in his 1983 article, The Ideological Turn in Modern Criticism, that people have a moral obligation to confront their societal conditions. Basically, what we need is like a Black Panther movement, but for gay people. And I've already thought of what it's gonna be. We're gonna call ourselves the Pink Pussy Party. I love it. It's perfect. Look, we do this not by talking about it in a classroom for 10 minutes, but by going out and fighting for it. People aren't bullied as groups, but as individuals. And yes, it might get better, but it gets better insists that people get better. Better at what? Taking it? Just waiting it out? I don't accept that. Because it didn't get better for Samantha Johnson, or Aaron Jarek, or Justin Aberg, or anyone else who has killed themselves or thought about killing themselves because of who they are. We are all well-versed in communication theory, so use it. Because why else do we do speech? We're here to persuade, to communicate effectively, and Zetas paid us. We're here to look good doing it. I spent retail price on this suit, and it was worth it. Much like my civil liberties. So take the skills and tools that your teachers and coaches have given to you and apply them. Please. Whether or not my sociology discussion was effective, I at least got people talking about this important problem. I am tired of not counting as a person in this country. To be fair, I am also tired of Nicolas Cage. But I think you can agree that the time has come for reception or ruin, destruction or discussion, the ballot or the bullet.